She sat alone, her dreams crumbling, rejected by 12 publishers. Yet one spark of belief changed everything. Joanne sat in a cramped cafe, her fingers trembling over a chipped mug of tea. The air smelled of stale coffee and damp wood. Outside, Edinburgh's grey skies mirrored the weight in her chest. It was 1995, and her world felt like it was collapsing. Her marriage had ended, leaving her a single mother to a baby girl she could barely afford to feed. Her typewriter, her only companion, sat silent at home, its keys worn from stories no one seemed to want. 12 publishers had rejected her manuscript. Her heart poured onto pages about a boy wizard named Harry Potter. Each rejection letter stung like a slap, whispering, "You're not good enough." Joanne wasn't born into wealth or privilege. Growing up in a modest home in Gloucestershire, she'd always escaped into books, weaving stories in her mind to drown out the noise of a world that felt too small. As a child, she'd scribbled tales of adventure on scraps of paper, dreaming of a day her words would touch others. But life had a way of grinding dreams to dust. By her late 20s, she was a secretary, then a teacher, chasing stability over passion. When her marriage fell apart, she returned to Britain with little more than a suitcase, her daughter Jessica, and a half-finished manuscript. The cafe was her refuge, a place where she could write while Jessica napped in her pram. But the rejections piled up. "Too long for children," one letter said. "Not commercial enough," said another. Each one chipped away at her hope, until doubt became a shadow she couldn't shake. She'd lie awake at night, her daughter's soft breathing the only sound in their tiny flat, wondering if she was foolish to keep going. What if I'm chasing a dream that's already dead? The question haunted her, heavier than the bills stacking up on a table. One evening, after another rejection, number 10, she sat on her sagging couch, staring at the manuscript. Pages were dog-eared, smudged with coffee stains, a testament to her persistence. She wanted to give up. The world seemed to scream that her story didn't matter. But then she thought of Jessica, her tiny hand curled around Joanne's finger. She thought of the stories she'd told her daughter, of a magical world where courage triumphed over fear. If she quit now, what would she teach her child? That dreams were meant to be abandoned? Joanne closed her eyes and made a choice. She wouldn't let the rejections define her. She'd send the manuscript out one more time. Just one more. She packaged it carefully, her hands steady despite the ache in her heart, and mailed it to a small London publisher called Bloomsbury. Days turned into weeks. She didn't dare hope, but she couldn't stop either. She kept writing, stealing moments in the cafe, pouring her soul into Harry's world. A world of friendship, bravery, and magic. Then, one ordinary morning, a letter arrived. Her hands shook as she tore it open. Bloomsbury wanted to publish Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. They saw what the others hadn't, a story that could light up the world. But even then, the path wasn't easy. The advance was small, barely enough to cover rent. They warned her that children's books rarely made money. Still, Joanne clung to her vision. She believed in Harry, in Hogwarts, in the power of a story to heal and inspire. When the book hit shelves in 1997, it wasn't an instant hit. A few copies sold, mostly to libraries. But word spread. Children whispered about a boy with a lightning scar. Parents read it aloud, their voices catching at the tale's heart. By the time the second book arrived, the world was listening. Bookstores couldn't keep Harry Potter on shelves. Readers lined up at midnight, dressed as witches and wizards, their eyes bright with wonder. The boy who lived became a global phenomenon. Joanne, now J.K. Rowling, watched her life transform. The single mother who once couldn't afford heat in her flat was now a voice for millions. Her story wasn't just about magic, it was about resilience, about finding light in the darkest moments. By 2000, Harry Potter had sold millions of copies, translated into dozens of languages. Films followed, then theme parks, and a legacy that would outlive her. But for Joanne, the true victory wasn't the fame or the fortune. It was knowing she hadn't given up. She'd faced 12 rejections, poverty, and despair, and still chose to believe in her dream. Today, J.K. Rowling's name is synonymous with success, but she never forgets the woman she was in that cafe. She speaks openly about her struggles, her mental health battles, and the power of perseverance. "Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life," she once said. Her story reminds us that failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater if we dare to keep going. No rejection, no failure, no darkness can define you unless you let it. Your dreams are worth fighting for, even when the world says no. Keep going, because one spark of courage can change everything.